We are getting closer to the release of Matt Reeves' The Batman, and over the last couple of weeks, the marketing has significantly stepped up, giving us a plethora of new TV spots, articles, and photos surrounding the film. But one article came out a couple of days ago featuring the director giving us some very intriguing details towards how he got the film made from the beginning. This involves him discussing the departure of Ben Affleck and his previously announced film, and how that led us to today, with the filmmaker set to launch a brand new trilogy and universe that stands on its own away from the DCEU. In this video, I'm going to be discussing his comments and what it could mean for his vision come the release of The Batman on March the 4th. But before I get into the Reeves interview, if you want to see much more videos on The Batman leading up to its release date, including the continuation of my Road to the Batman series, then don't forget to support this video by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. Also, feel free to check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram at Cortex Videos, which is all linked in the description below. But without further ado, let's discuss how Matt Reeves got The Batman made. So while Matt Reeves was working on the post-production for War of the Planet of the Apes, he couldn't find the time to answer the calls from Warner Brothers. This gives you a sense of his ambition with every project, thinking about one at a time, and putting his all into that to make it the best film possible. The new article over at Esquire magazine gives a full explanation from the director on the process of getting his Batman movie made, and a lot of the early details behind the transition period over at Warner Brothers with this film. It's intriguing and stuff that just outlines the ambition of this filmmaker, telling us that he would only make this if it was 100% his vision, and of course, him being able to do it right. To begin, it describes how Reeves was tirelessly working with animators over at Weta Digital on the nuance that he could show in some of the visual effects for his Final Apes movie, and with Warner Brothers still continuously trying to get a hold of him, he finally took the call from his agent after hesitating for a while. His agent told him that a meeting which Warner Brothers wanted to have with him is not a traditional one, and that actually it's about the character of Batman. It describes here and goes over some of the things we previously learnt from Empire magazine a few weeks back, that the director was a huge fan of the character growing up. He rewatched Batman Returns over and over, was a fan of the '66 TV show, and was invested in pretty much all of the other adaptations. But when he was reading comic books in his teens, he began to see the Caped Crusader more as a character with deeper complexity. He said, "I've always felt that the Batman story was a very special one. He's not really a superhero. He's someone who's driven by the pain of his past, and he's trying to find some way to make sense of his life. It's a very psychological story. This is the character I relate to the most." Deep within, there was essentially a take on this story that Reeves had dreamed of telling, one that was different from the others and deeply personal. It turns out that this wasn't the one that Warner Brothers had originally contacted him about making, with that one being the Ben Affleck script in the DCEU that the actor had written for himself to star in. Reeves recalls by saying, "I read a script that they had that was a totally valid take on the movie. It was very action driven. It was very deeply connected to the DCEU, with other major characters from other movies and other comics popping up. I just knew that when I read it, this particular script was not the way I'd want to do it." So while he says that Affleck's script was something that seems pretty interesting, the universe-connected approach that he was going for wasn't what Reeves wanted for his version of the character, and to be honest, I completely understand this. When you have a vision for a character you've loved all your life, you don't want to commit to something that, for one, you don't have the utmost passion for, and two, something which isn't what you envisioned. And resultingly, the filmmaker decided to go to Warner Brothers in person to respectfully tell them no. Reeves said, "I said, look, I think maybe I'm not the person for this. And I explained to them why I love this character. I told them that there have been so many great movies, but if I were to do this, I'd have to make it personal so that I understood what I was going to do with it, so that I know where to put the camera, so that I know what to tell the actors, so that I know what the story should be. This take, I told them, is a totally valid and exciting take. It is almost James Bondian, but it wasn't something that I quite related to." So again, Reeves liked Affleck's script, it just wasn't what he personally wanted to commit to or bring to the screen himself. Reeves told Warner Brothers, "So what I'd love to do, if you're interested, is I'd like to get involved and find a way to take the story and make it very, very personal and get to the place I want him to be, to make it a Batman story and give him the arc, and have the story rock him to his core. It wasn't going to be another origin story, not with Ben already in the character, but that's what I would do." He didn't even tell them the story he envisioned, but to his utter shock, Warner Brothers came back and they said, "We will wait because we like this vision." And by the beginning of 2017, as he was finalizing War for the Planet of the Apes, a transition had begun. Ben Affleck started re-evaluating what he wanted to do and was fighting throughout perhaps the hardest year of his personal life, pushing Batman to the sidelines. This comes from the words of multiple people, including Affleck himself, and it was unfortunate. And if you know me, I wanted to see what Affleck had in mind for his Batman film, and I was extremely excited for it. But of course, personal issues come before acting, and with Ben dealing with these, it was the right decision to make for himself. Matt Reeves' producer Dylan Clark says, "We had no idea what was going on. Ben is a friend of mine and I love Ben, but I didn't know exactly about those things in his personal life. We didn't find out until much later." So after we found out that Affleck stepped away from the role entirely, it also left Reeves and Clark with a blank slate, and now their version of the Batman could be anything they wanted. And with Warner Brothers coming back to the director to understand what his vision was, it was time for him to reveal what he was holding on to for so long. Reeves said, "I hadn't worked out the story, I had this North Star of a guiding principle. Then the fact that there was this moment of transition, out of that came an opportunity to say, okay, what if we didn't do another origin tale? What if instead we went to the imperfect Batman of his early days?" So ultimately, there was the idea of a Batman Year 2 story. Reeves continued saying, "A lot of the Batman stories we've seen on film, you see an origin tale. You see his parents killed, and then you see him perfecting himself into becoming Batman. A lot of times you see stories where he's already become Batman, then the Rogues Gallery villains come in, and it's then their story, and you watch him go toe-to-toe with them. I wanted the main character in the story to be a Batman who was a year in, and still trying to figure out how to do this, how to be effective, and he's not necessarily succeeding. He's broken and driven. He'd like to think that he is doing the right thing, that there's another part of him that's struggling right up against the limits. I think his biggest weakness is not realizing the extent to which the person that he's fighting is himself." So he clearly understands the character of Bruce Wayne, and while in the past he's talked about how great the other adaptations are, he wants to do something truly different, but one that quintessentially feels like Batman. He may think he's Batman, but he's not quite there yet. And there are still truths and secrets he must uncover before he becomes that Dark Knight. And with this came the very crucial question, who should be the next Batman? While figuring out who would play his tormented take on the character, he brought up suggestions with Dylan Clark after writing the movie, and the director had thought back to one of the best movie performances he's seen in the last 10 years. And that was after seeing Robert Pattinson in 2017's Good Time. Clark said, "Rob had just been doing these amazing parts with these incredible directors and showcasing all of these skills. Good Time was a movie we just marvel at. He's so real, he's so intense. There was an emotional arc, a trajectory that really resonated with us." They essentially wanted a Batman with layers, describing the role as one that includes a man of vengeance and of hope, an obsessive, near delirious man who remains clear-eyed, who can still represent justice in an unjust world. I just knew there was something radically different from anything we'd seen in Batman movies before. Right from the beginning, there's a desperation to him. He's really working out this rage. All the fights seem very personal. He wants to inflict this kind of justice. He's just compelled to do it. There is no other option. And this all comes through the approach and kind of story that Reeves wants to tell. A detective noir, 70s inspired cinema with a city being exploited and broken down from the inside, all while its main character and supporting players are being broken down or shaken to their cores. Whether it's a Kurt Cobain Bruce Wayne, a Zodiac Riddler, or a Godfather inspired Penguin. In the article, Peter Sarsgaard, who plays District Attorney Gil Coulson in the film, said, "He was talking about a lot of films that I really respected, like Taxi Driver, that were really character driven. With a lot of those references, I thought, you're going to be interested in people, and what makes people do things." And yeah, that's what film noir is. It's not just an aesthetic, it's really an investigation of the dark side of ourselves. So the Batman has this opportunity to be its own thing, a part of a newly connected trilogy of unique approaches, one that, like say Nolan's trilogy, can have films that excel their own brilliance. This first film is a character-driven psychological noir, and it leaves plenty of space to do more unique tales in the future, ones that aren't connected to other properties in the larger DC expanded universe. Yet ones that bring about the other two films in the trilogy and HBO Max shows that all build on a singular Gotham take. Reeves ends this whole interview by stating, "There's no question it's going to continue on long after this. It's great because it's a great myth. It allows itself to almost endless reinterpretation. There's been so many iterations, and what was important for me, critical for me, was I could not go into doing this one without feeling like we would have something definitive to say about this myth. I think that a lot of these great myths have that power, which is that if they truly resonate, they allow you to find a way to take the aspects of it that people love and then do something new with it. And then people connect to it all over again, and I hope that's what we've done." And in my opinion, the filmmaker is totally accurate about this. The fact that over the last 50 years we've got numerous individual takes on Batman, and the last trilogy made nearly $3 billion at the box office, just shows this long-term sustainability that Batman has had on film. Every filmmaker has come with a different vision, whether it be Burton, Nolan, Snyder, or others, and they have all brought a different take and put their filmmaking stamp on it. Now it's Matt Reeves' turn to keep this iconic character alive and fresher than ever, and hopefully as many of us continue to build our anticipation for this new film, it will deliver as being yet another great Batman entry. It sure does look like that from everything we've seen, but we will soon find out whether Reeves' take is as unique as it sounds, and primarily, if it brings a great new iteration of the Caped Crusader. But that was my breakdown of Matt Reeves' recent comments surrounding how he made the Batman. We are getting closer to March, and soon we will be able to see what this all means for the film, and whether it being a standalone endeavour will impact this kind of iteration we get. I think that it's a good thing that this film is separated, and this is something that Christopher Nolan's trilogy benefited from as a unique genre of films, because we were able to focus on them individually and all the great filmmaking on show without it dragging the weight of many films at the same time. Of course, it's also tragic that we'll never get to see Ben Affleck's Vision 2, but like Reeves and the actor have both clarified, he stepped away because of personal issues and didn't have the passion to continue playing the role while all of this was going on. Matt Reeves is trying to turn a new page and put his stamp on the character in a separated way, and this gives him the advantage to create something special that we haven't seen before. After all, Batman is a character that benefits from new takes, and that's why he's lasted for so long on the big screen, and we have seen new styles and approaches with all the films every time. Still, this doesn't mean the new film will be any good, but everything we've heard and seen so far seems promising leading into March. I'm personally very excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing the director's filmmaking on display too. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think towards the early process of getting the Batman made, and overall, are you excited for Matt Reeves' style of filmmaking in this new iteration? Let me know down below in the comment section. For more videos surrounding the Batman leading up to its release date, including the continuation of my Road to the Batman series, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.